Bobbin lace is mesmerizing to watch. Countless bobbins move across the pillow. Pins are placed in just the right spot and beautiful lace is created. But what is bobbin lace? Where did it come from? How does it work? Today I'm going to give you a brief history of bobbin lace and show you the basics of how it works. The exact origins of bobbin lace are unknown, but it's speculated that it began in Italy. Around 1943, there was a letter that referenced a braid made with 12 bobbins. They were very into braid making in Italy, and it was an art form there that then evolved into bobbin lace, and it spread throughout Europe. Women were eager to learn and begin creating bobbin lace. It was inexpensive to get the materials to make it. It was something that they could do in their homes. There was a market ready, and it paid better than some of the traditional textile arts such as sewing and tailoring. There are many kinds of bobbin lace. There's point ground laces like torsion or buck's point. There are braided laces such as bed's lace. There's tape lace such as Russian tape lace. There's also more free-form lace where motifs are sewn together to create the lace. Since bobbin lace is related to both weaving and braiding, I think the easiest way to show some principles of how bobbin lace works and why you need pins is by starting with just braiding 2 pairs. No matter how many pairs of bobbins you have on your pillow for your pattern at a time, you will always be working with just 2 pairs of bobbins at a time. To do the most basic stitch and all stitches, if you are crossing a bobbin from one pair to the other, it always goes left over right. Then your pairs have changed from this is a pair and this is a pair to now this is a pair and this is a pair. And then when you do a twist, you always go right over left, and that's always within the bobbins. You're not ever going to do a twist from one pair to the other like this, because then you've undone your cross. So crosses are always one bobbin to the next. You're always working with your inner 2, going left over right, and then twists are always going to be taking the right bobbin of each pair and going over the left. And then to finish the most basic stitch with this, which is a cloth stitch, you would do another cross. So left over right. And that creates this woven pattern, which is where we get the weaving. If you go across a bigger section, it's just going to look exactly like over-under weaving. Now, the purpose of the pins is to make it so that you can tension and tighten and get it just in the right spot. If I just kept braiding these pairs of bobbins going down, just kept going, then it's braided, it's not coming out, but we don't really have much control over it. If I try to tension them, it just kind of gets sort of messy. But if we go back and all the way to the beginning, we do our cloth stitch, and then we take a pin and we poke it in here. Now I can tension around this pin. Do another stitch. We stick a pin in, then again we can tension around that pin. Now I can get my braid as tight as I want it to be. And the pins aren't really, you're not tying around the pins, they're just there for tensioning and to get it in the right spot. If we take our pins out, it's still braided. It's not going to come undone because we've braided it, and that has just created the tension, and we've already tightened that section. It's a good idea to keep your pins in for about 2 inches as you work your pattern, because if you stick a pin in later after you've taken all these out and pull it, then it can kind of mess with the tension of the stuff back here. So you want to make sure that you have kept your pins in place for a few inches before you start taking them out from the back. That's why you see the section of pins, and then behind it, they're taking pins from the back to the front. You've got a good couple inches in between of pins holding in place to keep the tension there as you work your lace. So that's the basic principles of braiding. Now I'm going to show you what it is like when you add in another pair and why cloth stitch is called cloth stitch. So we are going to be working this pair. This is called a worker pair, and that's the one that is going to go across the other two, and these ones are just going to be coming straight down. So these are passives. We're going to take our worker pair and the next one that we want to go across, and we are going to do that cloth stitch. So we cross, left over right, twist, right over left, cross, left over right. And that's our first one. You can see that we have this woven texture. Now we're going to go across the next one with the same worker pair. We're going left over right, right over left, left over right. Now this one has been woven all the way across. To turn, we're going to twist, and we're just going to pin right there. So that gives us tension so that we can come back across to the other way. Now to undo your hitch, you just turn it to the side, pull down. It's a little trickier with yarn. Now we're going to go back the other way, and even though we're going back across the other way, we are still going to do the same pattern of left over right for cross, right over left for twist, left over right for cross. Now we're done with this pair, we're going to work across this one. Now we've continued our weaving technique. So we twist and pin, and we could just keep going down and weave this all the way down. And that is why it's called cloth stitch, because it ends up looking like woven cloth. Now the other basic stitch is called half stitch. To do half stitch, we're still doing the same way of crossing and twists. We're going to go left over right cross, left over right, or right over left twist. And instead of finishing that cloth stitch, we're going to leave it open. Now you'll notice that our pairs have shifted. Our two wooden bobbins aren't together anymore. And that's what happens with half stitch. Your pairs get separated, and that's okay. So now this is our new worker pair, and it's going to go across to this pair. Just like that. Now we can add an extra twist on this side, pin it, and we're going to come back across. We can pin up there, and this creates a much more open texture. Come back across, whoops, half, cross, twist, pin. Your pairs get separated, and that is the nature of half stitch. So you can't get too attached to your pairs staying together if there's half stitch in your pattern. I hope this video was helpful and informative, and that you learned a little bit about bobbin lace's origins and the basic stitches and how it works. If you'd like to learn more about bobbin lace, my next bobbin lace video, I will be walking you through a sampler that I've created that will show you how to do some of the basic stitches. See you next time. Bye.